What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and I'm here today to talk about the worst song on every Taylor Swift album. So we've done a lot of positive Taylor Swift videos on this channel, and if you know me or you know this channel, you'll know that I actually really like Taylor Swift. I love her music, love her personality. I think she's incredibly talented, and I thought, what better way to end 2017? We had her album Reputation, fantastic album, really grows on a lot of people, not just me. Ranked every one of her songs on it, reviewed it, did a ton of stuff with that album, and I thought, what better way to end 2017 than to talk about the worst of Taylor Swift, because we really don't do that, and I am planning on doing more Taylor Swift videos in 2018, and we're going to kind of rank a lot of songs and talk about a lot of the good of Taylor Swift, her music videos, her song rankings, best songs that she's ever made, maybe B-side songs in general. So we have a lot of really cool Taylor Swift stuff coming up and a lot of stuff that actually is good about her. But I figured we've never talked anything bad about her other than, in the album reviews when I've ranked them, I've said which one's my worst or my least favorite. And I've talked about my least favorite song of all time, but I've never talked about the worst song on every album. So let's just go right into this. On her first album, Taylor Swift, if you don't know this channel yet, or you've never watched another one of my videos, you won't know, but I guess if you did, you will. Mcgraw, I think, is not just the worst song on this album, but I think is the worst song she's ever made, by a mile. I do not like this song. I think it is catchy in the simplistic way where it doesn't really do anything for a casual music fan, and if you're really into music or you really try and listen to progressions and the way artists write lyrics and stuff, it doesn't do anything. The song is boring. It's weird talking bad about her, but I just don't like it. Her voice isn't good in this song. This is the first time you'll hear her music, and this is in an album that overall has a lot of pacing issues, but also just a lot of uncertainty in it, where she doesn't really know how to balance country and pop. And again, I'm not hating. Maybe this video will do good, and you guys won't know that I've actually really like her, and that I've had a lot of videos publicly praising her. I've even defended her. But Tim McGraw is a terrible song, and I think just this album overall has a problem with its country and pop mix, and I think she fixes it right away in Fearless. I think she does a phenomenal job fixing it and has a much better blend of pop and country. I think she does a really good job, and then it kind of goes even less country and more pop, and then Red kind of goes back, and then obviously we know what 1989 and Reputation did. It basically just killed pop, or killed country. She doesn't even know what country is anymore. So Tim McGraw is definitely the worst song on that album. Fearless is a lot tougher. Because I think overall it's a better album. Much better album. And the only again, I've reviewed actually each of these albums. So if you go back and you watch those, you'll definitely see I talk about literally every single song on I've talked about every single song she's ever made, except for a few songs that I actually really like. On Fearless, she has a kind of grouping that I just was not a fan of. Now I can also count B-sides, and I'm going to do that. The B-sides, kind of the extra tracks on Fearless, aren't the greatest. Jump Then Fall is a really good song. Untouchable and Comin' With The Rain and Superstar actually is a really good song. Untouchable and Comin' With The Rain, they're decent. They're not the best. Even The Other Side of the Door is very on that mark of being the worst song. But I'm not going to give it to it. The Other Side of the Door could be it, but I'm not going to give it to it. There's the 3-song group of Tell Me Why, You're Not Sorry, and The Way I Loved You. I'm just looking at the names, by the way. I don't have a script or anything. This is all off the old noggin. These 3 songs aren't bad, but they just all sound the same. You're Not Sorry. Here's the thing. The way I Loved You, I do think sounds the most different of the other 2. Tell Me Why and You're Not Sorry do kind of blend together. I can clearly hear. I can hear in my head her voice and the music of both songs. So I'm not just saying. I'm not just looking at names and just choosing. I would say You're Not Sorry is probably my least favorite. Tell Me Why is a more upbeat, faster paced song, and it even sounds a little messy, to be honest with you, because it is a lot of the whole country and pop mix. But You're Not Sorry, I don't know. It's got the guitar work. It's got the cool solo, or the cool solo meaning it's around 10 seconds and it's just 10 notes and that's it, or whatever. The guy isn't the greatest guitar player in the world. But The Way I Loved You does she relies more on her vocals in The Way I Loved You. You're Not Sorry, she kind of also, I think Tell Me Why is the worst vocally driven song, is the worst vocals she's had on any of these songs in Fearless. But I'm going to say You're Not Sorry is the worst song I feel on this album. It's the one I least enjoyed out of the group. Speak Now is my favorite album she's ever made. It's actually one of my more favorite albums like any band. And then that's hard to say because I like bands a lot, like Green Day, Smashing Pumpkins, Blink-182. I mean, I really like those bands. But I think Speak Now is just a phenomenal album that's got a ton of experimentation, a ton of just beautiful songs written, performed, vocally, musically, just all the above. It's very difficult to choose. So I'm going to give it to 2 songs. And I kind of put like arrow up, arrow down on these songs to kind of, when I was talking about them, because I think I was going to rank them, and I still am going to rank some. The songs I'll give them to is Never Grow Up and Last Kiss. Now, Last Kiss, I think, is a decent song. It's slow, but the problem with Last Kiss is there's a lot of other slow songs. You could argue Back to December is a slow song. Dear John is definitely a slow song. What else? Innocent is a very slow song. So you got like 4 right there, and Last Kiss is like is the second to last song, and I feel like it just drags on because I want to get to Long Live because I love Long Live. That's a fantastic song. It just carries her tradition of having really good songs at the end of every single album. Every single album's last song is really, really good. New Year's Day on Reputation is actually phenomenal. One of my favorite songs on that album. So, Last Kiss, I don't think is a bad song. I just think it slows down the pace a little too much for then Long Live to bring it all the way back up. I don't relate to it as much. I do like it's very somber and like the long drawn out guitar work in Last Kiss. I like a lot about Last Kiss, but if I had to give it to that, I'd do that. Never Grow Up, same kind of thing. Pretty slow. Again, kind of relies on her voice and kind of the backing track voice of her bandmates. And it has, again, a little bit of guitar, violin, little presence there. But again, I think there's just too many slow songs on this album, and the balancing issue only is those 2 songs. The album is actually really well balanced where it goes like fast song, slow song, fast, and it does that well throughout almost the entire thing. These 2 songs, though, are just the weaker part. They're the weakest parts of the album. If these 2 songs were removed, this album would be, I think, a masterpiece of an album. It already is, but those 2 songs, I think, definitely kind of hold it back a little. For Red, it's actually very, very easy. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of her bonus songs on Red. I'm just not. But I'm going to give it to The Last Time, which is performed by her and Gary Lightbody of Snow Patrol. When I first heard this song, I despised it. I just did. His voice works and her voice works, but when you put them together, they don't work. The thing I like about Ed Sheeran is, he is on this Everything Has Changed, and he's on Reputation as well in Endgame. And although in Endgame he's never singing at the same time she is, he does sing and Everything Has Changed with her. And what I like about that song is her voice is the dominant voice. Now, whether or not, that's true in real life or not, they structure it so that her voice is the vocal presence on that track. It's the voice that you hear. His voice is definitely behind it. Where if you're listening carefully enough or closely enough, you can hear his voice. But the emphasis is on her voice. In The Last Time, they work together when they're separately, but then when they put them together, for some reason, somebody told Gary, that name. Somebody told Gary to sing more powerful and louder than Taylor, and when they did the track mix, they also put his voice on top of hers and jacked up his audio, and also, not even that, they jacked her volume down. I just think that there's just a lot wrong with the song. If I'm listening to a album by an artist, I expect that artist to be the main singer, the featured musician on every song, just every song on the album, because it's their album. I don't want a song from somebody else, unless it's like a band member. See, like, again, I like the Smashing Pumpkins a lot. They're my favorite band of all time. They have a couple albums where James Iha sings a song, but he's a band member, so he's part of this band. So I'm listening to a Smashing Pumpkins album. It's not like Billy Corgan's not playing anyway, so like they're all there. But in The Last Time, I feel like it's a Gary Lightbody song and not a Taylor Swift song, and that upsets me. That upsets me big time because I really don't like that. For 1989, this is tough. This is really tough. I'm looking through the list now, and to be honest, this is tough. Here's the thing. Style and like Out of the Woods. Out of the Woods, it was one of those, singles. A lot of people liked it. It wasn't like the greatest song for me. I really like all of the deep cuts on this album. Like All You Had to Do Was Stay, I Wish You Would is really, really good. How You Get the Girl, Clean, Wonderland, New Romantics. Those aren't normally the songs you think of, although I did hear New Romantics on the Home Depot radio station, which was awesome because I love that song. It's one of my favorite songs she's ever made, and on this album. So, I do think... Oh, and by the way, the Lucky One on Red is also not that great. Just thought I'd throw that in. It's not as bad as the last time, but it's definitely one of her worst songs. So, what I'm going to have to do with this is I'm going to have to do I Know Places and You Are in Love. Those are my two. I was thinking about This Love, but This Love is a very different kind of song. It sounds very different when you're listening to the whole album. It sounds very different. I Know Places is not a bad song. See, this album is good from top to bottom, super consistent. So I can't say one song is just generally really awful compared to the rest. They're not. You Are in Love is a pretty good song, and I Know Places is a pretty good song. I guess when you just compare them to the rest of the songs, they just don't do it. I mean, I'm looking through this list, guys, and I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think You Are in Love and I Know Places is definitely my two least favorite. They're not bad songs. They just generally kind of decrease the quality, and it goes right back up. New Romantics is right after You Are in Love, and Clean is right after I Know Places, and Clean is a phenomenal song. Really, really good. Very clever song in a lot of different ways. That only leaves Reputation as the last album, and if you watched my ratings of I ranked all of her songs in Reputation, you'll know that Dress is my least favorite. And it sounds too much like I Don't Want to Live Forever, minus Zayn. It sounds literally exactly like that song, and I just don't like I only bought this dress so you can take it off. That doesn't do anything for me, like connecting it with it emotionally or anything in my past relationships or like anything. Even though I am a guy, and it's different to relate to a Taylor Swift song, I think, if you're a guy and you're a girl. And I also just respect her as an artist. And Dress is a different song. I'll give that to her. It's a different song. All of Reputation is very creative in its own way, and I truly respect that about her. But Dress just doesn't do anything, and it's just such a drop in quality. And I do agree. When I listen to Reputation over and over and over again, the quality does go up. I like every single song on that album more every time I listen to it. And that's rare. And I do think, obviously, it will plateau and it will hit its high and it will stay there. But Dress, every time I've listened to it, it's gotten worse to the point where I just skip it. I don't even listen to it. I pretend it's not on the album. I think it's a pretty bad song. I think it's one of the worst songs she's ever made. And, when I made the rankings, I was looking at some of the comments. Some people agree. Some people think Dress is one of the worst. People think, Ready For It and Look What You Made Me Do are also some of her bad ones. Or, what was the one? I really like Dancing With Our Hands Tied. A lot of people actually hate that, and I saw multiple lists of that video where they put that dead last. I definitely don't agree. I definitely don't agree. I think Dancing With Your Hands Tied, very catchy, very lyrical driven. I like the beat in the background. I love her voice in that. It's a really, really good voice that she has in that one. Dress, she has an okay voice, but it's very I don't know. I don't know. It's like not her. It doesn't sound like her kind of performance. And I know that this whole album isn't really what you would expect. If I told you this is her album during the Red years, you probably would throw me out or lock me up in jail for being a nut or something. But the album is truly unique. But Dress is just so too much I Don't Want to Live Forever. Too much just this zangy kind of... just the way the music is, I just don't like it. I don't like this song at all. I think it's the worst on that album. I think it's one of the worst songs she's ever made, period. Tim McGraw is definitely the worst. I just want to make that stated one more time. Tim McGraw is the worst song Taylor Swift has ever made. Ironically, it's the first song on her first album ever. And so you just got to leave it with that forever. So let me know what you guys think of this. What do you think are her worst songs on every album? What do you think are her worst songs just in general? Leave in the comments below. If you have any ideas or any suggestions you want me to do for my 2018 videos, I'm going to do more Taylor Swift videos in 2018. Let me know in the comments below. I got a couple ideas. I'm going to be talking about the music videos. I am going to be ranking some of her best songs, maybe putting together a definitive ranking of every song she's ever made. That'll be very challenging, very difficult, but I'm up for the challenge. I always am. So let me know. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Like and share the video, and I will see you guys in 2018 for more Taylor Swift videos.